is KRQE News 13 with Dick Niffing and Diane Anderson.
False alarms are a waste.
A waste of time for police officers who have to respond, and a waste of money for you. The city of Albuquerque passed a law 6 years ago to start changing home and business owners or charging them for false alarm calls in an effort to free up police. But guess who's at the top of the list for false alarm calls? And guess what they have to pay? News 13's Tim Maestas has details in tonight's special assignment.
Alarm systems are good to have, but they can be loud, scary, and depending on the cause, expensive.
These have all been false alarms? Yeah, all been false alarms.
Over the last year, the owners of Nana's Trattoria have had to pay more than $1,500 in false alarm fees to the city of Albuquerque. A city ordinance passed in 2003 starts charging alarm owners after 3 false alarm calls in a calendar year. Nana's has had 11.
$1,500 could pay for a lot of other things, you know. I mean, we're trying to open a new business out in Harris.
The false alarm ordinance was passed to keep emergency responders from wasting their time by giving business and homeowners incentives to keep their alarm systems working properly.
Especially if there are fines involved, they're likely to get the problem fixed.
Albuquerque's false alarm reduction unit has Nana's as one of 2009's top offenders. But there are some places that leave the restaurant in the dust. Buildings owned by federal, state, and local governments like the city of Albuquerque. In 2009, the city's Cesar Chavez Community Center had 18 false alarm calls, of which police responded to 13. If it was a home or a business, the fines would have totaled $2,550. But the center and all the other government buildings with false alarm calls are in the clear.
They're exempt from registering and renewing their permits, and they are exempt from paying false alarm fees.
A closer look at the list shows a problem. Among the top 20 government building false alarm offenders are 11 city-owned facilities with 118 false alarms in 2009. Of those, police responded to 88. No one was fined. While the city's free from paying fines for false alarm calls, it's still costing taxpayers. In fact, the city just started a 6-month contract with a private security firm to respond to city buildings and free up police because the problem's so bad.
It could be any number of things. It could be human error.
Albuquerque Security Chief Mark Shepard says the bill for the private security contract is $17,500.
Just having somebody respond is not fixing the problem.
Former City Councilor Sally Maes sponsored the false alarm ordinance 7 years ago. She says maybe the law needs to change again.
And it is not rocket science. It's easy to manage if you pay attention, and you pay attention if there's an incentive to pay attention.
Workers at the Cesar Chavez Community Center say their false alarm problem lies with an airflow issue that keeps some of the front doors from closing properly. City officials say they're working now to fix the problem there and all the other buildings on the list.
Now that we've seen this data and realize that we are having false alarms at our buildings in the city. And that's exactly what we're going to do.
Public safety spokesperson T.J. Wilhelm says it's now a priority for the new administration to reduce the number of false alarms at city buildings and develop a plan to keep the number low.
We are going to address it.
How soon do you plan on?
The mayor set a timetable that he wants us to be back in 6 months with new data to him. And we will.
I don't think it's fair.
Restaurant owner Cassandra Olguin told us seeing the city at the top of the list of false alarm offenders just doesn't seem right.
I like all of these places. I have a pool card. I pay for it. In my honest opinion is I think we're being taken advantage of.
Tim Maestas, KRQE News 13.
City officials say the 2003 false alarm ordinance has resulted in a large decrease in those calls for police. At the time the law was passed, APD was spending up to 50,000 man-hours a year dealing with false alarms. APD says that adds up to about $3 million worth of wasted time.
Should we say that was alarming? That's awful. No,
I'd
shouldn't
say
say
so.
it.